Welcome back. It's a great day for this Tuesday. 8:43 now, as we just mentioned, and we have Mike Jankins joining us in studio with us right now. And it's just perfect, Mike, of course, a bankruptcy lawyer, because we have some questions about these classes. You guys heard about these classes, apparently?
I have to go back to school?
Just to file bankruptcy. I didn't know you had to go back to school to file bankruptcy. What's the deal with this?
Well, you don't have to go to school to file bankruptcy, but if you want your bankruptcy to go through, you got to go to school.
Oh, okay.
Really?
And
Really?
class is in session right now, by the way.
What's the theory behind this?
Well, and there's actually one class that people have to go to, and that's after the case is filed. There's a little bit of confusion about the other component of the requirement, and that's called bankruptcy credit counseling.
Okay.
So, but people think that's the classes too.
Okay.
It's just another exercise that they have to do, another hoop that you have to jump through to be able to get this bankruptcy.
Okay, so what is the process then? What do we have to go through then?
Okay, so once somebody comes to see me and they've determined they want to file bankruptcy, we tell them, okay, before you bring all your things back to us so we can prepare your case, you have to participate in something called bankruptcy credit counseling.
Okay.
And so there are hundreds of agencies on the internet that you can do it, which kind of tells you right now how important this is.
So you're not showing up to like get out of a ticket and you see everyone else in the classroom that's also done the same thing. This is a private type of class.
Well, for the credit counseling, you can do it on the internet.
Okay.
So we have a particular place we recommend people use if they're going to do it on the internet, and there's hundreds of them, but we just stick with one because then the certificates that they get of completion get emailed to me, so I know it's done.
Okay.
Now, some of our clients aren't very fluent on the internet, and it's a challenge to hit the power button on the computer, or they just don't have one.
Right.
And so we said we'll have them call Consumer Credit of Des Moines, and they can do it by telephone, or they can go in person there and do it. And it's just as good. And so we kind of give them those two options.
Are we trying to get people to not go forward with the bankruptcy? Is that the idea?
Well, I don't know if that's the idea. It's just another, and I wouldn't call it a hurdle. I mean, there's a small fee that people have to pay, so that's unfortunate that these are these extra costs that Congress threw into the whole thing. But
this is required.
It's required.
So what are they asking you?
Well, during the credit counseling session of it, I mean, essentially a person's going to, or if you do it on the internet, they're going to go over what your debts are, just kind of lay those out, what your family's living expenses are, what kind of income you bring in a month, and just sort of take a look at your overall financial picture. And they're not telling you to do anything one way or another. There might be some recommendations in the credit counseling session about what somebody might want to do about their particular thing, like structure a payment plan. I think in theory, when it was created by Congress, that's what they were looking for, that people might be guided towards trying to make an effort to pay back the debts. But I think in reality, that really has never happened. It's just a hoop to jump through, and like I say, on the internet, people are just banging away at their computer, getting it done as quickly as they can and getting out.
Okay.
And then a certificate's generated, and then we file that with the court.
How long does that take to complete? Say if you want to, can you bang that out in an afternoon?
Yeah, I've helped some people do this. They couldn't do it themselves online, so I wanted to actually see what they go through. So they came to my office, sat next to me, and I actually sat there and did it for them. And if someone's going to really pay attention, probably take about an hour. They have to have a live chat with somebody to do it too, and that takes time because there's a lot of waiting time.
Okay.
And personally, I think it's a waste of time, the whole thing, and it just costs somebody some extra money.
How much money are we talking about?
At the place we use on the internet, it's like $20.
So it's not an outrageous amount.
No, and I think a Consumer Credit of Des Moines for a single person, I believe it's $50, but don't quote me on it. And I think if it's a couple, I think it's $75. If somebody makes below poverty level income, the fees will be waived, so it's free.
Okay.
So, it's just something that they have to do, and that's before the case can get filed. So if the case is filed and the certificate isn't there, it's thrown out instantly.
Oh,
really?
And the certificate, once it's issued, is only good for 180 days. So if someone does it too quickly and doesn't get all their stuff done, it can expire, and then they have to do it again.
Do it again.
So that's before you file.
Okay.
Now, the class, that's a whole different thing. So after your case is filed, you have to take a class. And unlike the first, it's what I always tell people, which was, I believe, a waste of time. The class, I think, is very useful and is probably a good idea, one of the few good ideas probably Congress came up with when they passed the legislation. And so before the person's case can complete, they have to do this class. And there's a certificate generated showing they completed it. And if they don't, when their case comes to conclusion and they get their bankruptcy discharge, which is the end of your case where the judge would say your debts are gone, they don't get a discharge. Their case just closes as if they, they took a bankruptcy, but they didn't get any benetfit of it, and the case just closed.
Really?
And so then when it is brought to their attention, hey, you didn't do your class, their attorney has to reopen the bankruptcy. That costs $260 to reopen it, and they have to go get that class done and get the certificate. So fortunately, that's never happened to any of my clients since this new law came into effect
when did that
2005.
Okay.
And the reason is we don't want to be messing around staying after our clients to get the class done. So we sort of make them get it done by the time, right after we file the case. They have to go to their creditor meeting proceeding, their court matter, about a month later, and we insist they have to have it done before then. So then they've got it done, and 2 more months go by, and their case is over, and we're not, getting these warnings from the court that this case closes in 45 days, and if your client's certificate doesn't show up, they aren't going to be closing with a bankruptcy. So it's, and I've seen other cases where that happens, and it's kind of costly. I mean, I blame the attorneys sometimes for not really emphasizing to their client, you need to get this done right away, and then sometimes clients just don't do their business like they're supposed to. I mean, we've had to stay on some of our clients to get it done when they didn't get it done when we said to get it done, and we don't like getting it that late. But
all right, one other quick question for you too. So say you get a bankruptcy and it comes to conclusion and your debts are wiped out and you go back into business again and you find yourself in that same situation again and you say, you know what, I started over before. How long of a period of time between when you filed a bankruptcy can you file another one?
Okay, well, first thing you do is try to find your other bankruptcy so you know when the date was, and then get a calendar and pray. You better hope 8 years has gone by since the last time.
Okay.
Because if it hasn't, you won't be doing Chapter 7 bankruptcy again. There'll be other options to look at, and it's not. There's no wiggle room on it. It's 8 years to the day, and some people think, oh, it's 7 years or 6 years, and it's not. And it's just a big deal. And people have bad memories. When they come to see us, one of the first questions on our intake form is, have you ever filed before, and when? And we'll get people that'll put down, oh yeah, I filed in 2003 or I filed in 2005, and then I go actually look it up. I learned that a long time ago, to just look it up before spending a whole hour going, oh, I guess you can't file. And no, it was really like 2008 or 2009, and oops, I guess you can't do it.
All right, so if people have questions about any of this, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me at 255-1855. We'd be happy to answer any questions on the phone. Otherwise, you can find us on the web at www.iowa-bankruptcylaw.com.
And I always say it pays to have a lawyer who knows what they're talking about to avoid some fees and other issues that you might have down the road.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
9 minutes before 9 o'clock, we'll be back. This is a great thing.